All right. Welcome back to a brand new episode. I don't even know what number this is.
Wait, do I?
I
It's
don't think
15. It's 15.
Probably 15. That
It's
means
15.
15 weeks, possibly 16. We don't know.
No, it's 15.
Okay, 15 weeks of
15 weeks.
self-development. You were here watching a brand new episode. It's Monday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're here. We're grinding. We got a brand new episode for you
Brand
guys.
new episode.
I'm excited.
I'm
I've
super
had a
hyped
ton
too.
of caffeine today.
That
It's
we can
really
tell.
bad. It is insane. I've just been flying off the walls. I'm excited for life in general, though.
Same.
It's sunny today. I'm feeling good.
It's gonna be a good summer. It's that Thinking Wealthy summer.
Thinking wealthy summer.
You know, it's time to start grinding this summer.
No hose.
We
bro.
got nothing to worry about. Just summertime grind,
Making money.
make money, but also have some fun too
Yep.
along the way. Let's make this a memorable summer.
Oh yeah.
We want you guys to join us on that journey. So
Mhm.
let's get into it. Are you ready to
Yeah. Give
to
a
get the
little,
episode? But you got to do something.
I got a
first.
little,
There's
just a
something you
little
gotta do.
something. All right. You know, you guys were expecting this. Okay. You see, there's a fee for this podcast. This is no monetary fee. Okay. You won't be paying any money. It's just a very simple fee. This is an information exchange. All right. So if we provide any sort of value to you guys, you know, if we make you laugh, smile, learn something new, maybe change your perspective just a little bit, go tell people about our podcast.
Go
I'm not
tell
even
'em.
joking. Like, I don't know the amount of people who listen to this and they're like, oh, somebody else would do it. Nah, you do it. Go tell people about our podcast.
Go tell them.
We're trying to help you so you can help us, you know?
Exactly.
That's how this works. We're your friends. So help us out. So go tell people. And yeah, that is the fee. So go tell people. Pay the fee.
All right.
So let's get into it.
Today, this is kind of an interesting episode. We don't have
We
an
don't have
exact
a name yet.
we don't have an exact title for this episode. 'Cause it's more of a
title it
concept than
later, yeah.
anything. But basically, what we're going to be talking about today is how to keep your mental health in a good place even when things are going wrong.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like that's the best way to describe what we're going to encompass today. So we're going to be talking a little bit about like not allowing these external factors that you have no control over to affect your mental health, because I see a lot of people let that happen to them,
Yeah.
and then they kind of just like, well, it's out of my control. But
Mhm.
instead of acknowledging that it's out of their control and working to fix it, they just say, well, guess I can't do anything about it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking all about that, kind of the steps that you can take to
Mhm.
improve upon that and not let these external factors affect you so much.
Yeah.
But
Why don't you go first? I feel like
Yeah.
you got more. And I'll
I
just kinda
got
build off of
I got some meat to talk about. Mainly, you might be sitting there thinking about like you started this episode. You're like, oh, new Thinking Wealthy episode. Let's go listen. And you're like, man, that sounds kind of pointless. Like what they're talking about. Like what? Like that's weird. But let me explain why I think this concept is so important for basically everybody in life, right? So first of all, we talk about mental health all the time on here.
Yep.
It's kind of become the whole thing. Like
The whole podcast is
the whole
just mental
podcast
health.
is a lot of mental health.
Yeah.
Because I mean, me and Nick both agree that mental health is the most important thing
It's the basis for everything else.
for everything. Like
Yeah.
no matter what you're doing, if you don't have a good mental health, you're not going to be able to succeed in
Oh,
it.
facts.
So that's why this is so important. And to me, one of the most like important things that I see that differentiate between successful people and non-successful people is how they approach like speed bumps and things in the way of their progress, right? To me- I could tell right away, like for instance, when we've gotten a bunch of new coworkers at my job, and the first thing I kind of look at when I'm thinking like, oh, are they going to be a good coworker or like just kind of a mediocre one, is how they handle when it gets stressful, right? And that's kind of the most important thing to me. Like, yeah, when it gets busy, it's annoying. Like, I don't want to be there when it's busy either, but it's our job. We have to do it. And might as well just like, get through it fast and like do it successfully rather than let a bunch of things go wrong, right? But I noticed that, you know, the people that are really good at their jobs, they, you know, keep their head down, they keep focusing, and they don't start, you know, getting angry at things that aren't going right. Or when it's too busy, they start getting frustrated and they just start allowing it to snowball and give like bad energy. And then right from there, I can tell like, okay, you're not mentally strong enough to just accept the fact that things aren't going to be perfect for a little bit and work through it. And instead you let that affect everyone around you as well and create just bad vibes in the workplace. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're
But
saying.
that can kind of affect anything. And that idea of controlling your mental health better is really important for all aspects of life, which I'll kind of get into some other
Mm-hmm.
examples as we go along here. But I think that's like kind of my first point is if you can't like see the roadblocks that are affecting you and get over them, you're really not going to be able to succeed in what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's a
Yeah.
really important thing to be able to have.
I got a good TikTok clip right here, so we'll start that clip right here. Anyways,
'Kay.
the TikTok clip is the number one indicator maybe not the number one. One of the number one indicators for how successful you're going to be is how you handle stress.
Exactly.
That'll be posted. People will be in the comments. Be like, you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
my God.
But
Yeah.
genuinely, one of the number one indicators for how successful you'll be is how you handle stress. And, you know, in a positive way, how you handle stress correctly. That
Exactly.
is like one of the huge indicators of how you'll grow in life and how you'll be able to overcome all those challenges and be better than all your competition and just like be the best.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because people who can't handle stress well, they're not going to be able to deal with, like, everything in life is stressful,
100%.
especially when you're dealing with something as important as like the stuff you're doing for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? All that stuff is really stressful, and it's important to be able to get through it without letting that stress snowball and affect you. Like, of course, it's important to take away, like, okay, I need to take a break so the stress doesn't become too high, right? Like, no one should just be wadding through an extreme amount of stress every day. Like, you're not going to be able to succeed then. Like, it's more like we're not saying you need to, like,
not be like stone cold killer, right?
Yeah.
You gotta learn healthy ways to handle
healthy
your
way
stress.
to handle the stress rather than just being like, I can deal with an immense amount of stress because nothing affects me. Do you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
not
obviously
like
it does affect you, but it's then using the proper mental health strategies to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of, I have like kind of a 3-step thing that I think works towards like kind of understanding this better,
Let's hear it.
and
First
something that kind of gets into it. So the first step, I think, for like when we're dealing with something stressful is acknowledging that stress, right? I see one thing that a lot of people do is when something big and stressful comes along, or something like that they didn't intend to happen. Like, let's say, for instance, you're driving to work and you get into an accident, right? First thing they do is start going, oh my God, this is ridiculous. I can't believe this happened. There's no way. Like, this isn't my fault. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, might as well let everything else fail because of it as well, right? So the first thing to do is acknowledge that, like, okay, obviously you didn't mean to get into a car accident. It's fine. It happened. There's nothing you can do to rewind time to make it go away. Might as well deal with it in the most effective way possible to move forward into the next thing, right?
I think it's like a self-awareness that you got to have, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
self-awareness of understanding that there's stress and almost being like looking at yourself in the third person. It's a skill that you kind of got to learn, is being able to look at yourself in the third person and be like, I'm stressed. How do I handle this correctly? Not letting your emotions control you.
Especially because the way you react to it also affects the way people around you will react as well.
Exactly.
Kind of an important thing is, like, you can't really control the way other people are going to react to things, right? And like, the reality is, in our lives, we have to deal with other people all the time. Like, we're constantly dealing with other people. Like, even in the instance of the car accident, the person on the other car is probably upset too. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you get out and you start yelling at them and making a big scene about it, it's only going to take longer to deal with the accident. It's only going to be more frustrating. It's only going to be more stress, right? If you get out and say, hey, are you okay? Like, is everything all right? Let's just exchange the information, get through it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It makes it that much easier.
it makes it so much easier. And, you know, that doesn't just relate to like a car accident thing. It's to anything.
Anything,
right?
Yeah. The self-awareness.
The self-awareness and the energy that you give off to other people is going to help build upon it so much more, right? And you're going to be able to have a better mental health if you sit there and just realize that, okay, some things are just out of my control. Do you know what I mean? But it's best to keep going and moving forward rather than letting it affect you negatively.
What's step 2?
Okay. So kind of after we acknowledge that whatever happened, from there what we got to do is look at ways to move past it, right? Okay. So like for me, the thing that I'm going to bring up a lot probably is work, right? So like a lot of the time when it gets stressful and it gets busy, just so you guys know, for some context, I work at a boba place. So like, yeah, it's
He
not
likes balls.
Okay. So you're such a child sometimes. Okay. So what happens sometimes is it gets really busy out of nowhere, right? And like obviously at a boba place, what you need is boba. But you have to cook it, and it takes like an hour in the back to cook, right? Each batch. So sometimes what'll happen is whoever's the shift lead for that day is not paying attention much, and we run out of boba, right?
That's not good.
So right off the bat, that's like a stressful thing.
That's bad.
Because, okay. Now, every time a customer comes in, I'm going to have to tell them like, oh yeah, we're out of boba too. Like, sorry. Do you know what I mean? So it creates an extremely stressful situation. So first thing I'm going to do is just acknowledge that happened. Yeah. If I try to be like, oh my God, this is so freaking annoying, I'm going to, first of all, treat customers probably in like not the best way. I'm going to be giving off a bad energy to them. It's going to make it much harder when customers are probably going to be frustrated anyway. So if I come at it with like an understanding approach, it's going to be a lot better for, creating a good vibe in the workplace as well. So once we get to the point where it's like, hey, we acknowledged it, now we got to move past it, right? So like from there, it's just kind of like, what can we do to solve the issue? I see a lot of people, and sounds ridiculous, but like I see a lot of people when something bad happens, instead of looking like, okay, how do I fix it? They just go, I give up.
Oh, that happens a lot.
I'm like, you give up. Like, it's not even
Why?
that hard to solve it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you give up, it's only just going to be more annoying. You're going to have to deal with it for so much longer. Yeah. So, like, then from there, I'm like, okay, well, like, whoever's got to go cook that boba, go freaking do it. We'll be a little slow on making drinks for a bit, but then we'll be back to where we were at, right? So it's about understanding that, okay, nothing's perfect. We're going to have to work through it and then getting through it, right? And then finally, I think the thing that it comes most important is that's that third step, which is after it happens, not letting it affect you for forever, right?
Yes. Oh, wait. I got one thing to add on this before you go into the full point. So there's this little strategy I learned from this one job I used to have. I was basically a salesperson for this like almost pyramid scheme, but that's besides the point. So basically, one strategy they told us is like basically the way to not let this affect you is you give yourself 5 minutes, right? Give yourself 5 minutes to just be pissed off as possible, angry as you want, and then as soon as that 5 minutes is over, reflect if that's actually going to affect you or not, and then like 9 times out of 10, you realize that incident that just happened over that course of 5 minutes, it won't matter. It's like that's a huge beneficial thing. Anyways, continue on with your point.
What I was going to say is this. You probably see this. I've done it. Had a bad day at work. Now I'm going to make everybody else's day bad. I'm going to be like, oh, my day sucked. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. And you let it affect everything else, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of comes in the last step. I'm trying to think. It would be acknowledge, move forward, and then accept. I feel like acknowledge and accept are kind of similar. But like, a little bit, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, basically, at the end of the day, we got to realize, like, okay, we got through it. It happened. Let's not let it affect everything else, right? So many people allow these negative factors that are going on in the day, the random things that happen to you, affect the rest of your day. You make people around you feel bad because now you're angry and frustrated over things that they didn't even do, right? You're just in a bad mood, you're in a funk, and then you have to apologize after for being rude to them as well, right? Yeah. So overall, it's just better to accept what happens and go, okay, let's move forward. You know what I'm saying? And like still have a good day. Just because you run out of boba during your shift doesn't mean you can't have a good day, right? Yeah. Whatever it is. Just because you get in a car accident doesn't mean you still can't have a good day. Yes, it's going to suck. Yes, it's stressful. But there's something you can do about it. And if you approach it with a negative mindset, you're only going to make it worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So basically the thing we're kind of putting here is like it's all internal, right? Like the internal.
It all really is internal.
Like the self-awareness to like check up on yourself and be like, yo, I can't let all these external factors affect me, right? So one thing I kind of want to add on top of the negative side of it, right? There's also a positive side, if that makes any sense, right? Say all these good things are happening throughout the day, right? Like great things are happening to you. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. Right. You know, you just made $1,000 or something, or like somebody just gave you like a nice mug and it looks really great. Like good things are happening and you're super excited and you're letting all that mug. Yeah, based mug. All these like good things are happening, right? So these external factors are making you happy. But here's the issue that can come up is say like one negative thing happens. Boom. All that like external happiness that you're having can like totally derail your day.
Exactly.
But if you're self-aware and acknowledging, watching how you react to all these things, it's an internal thing, right? So then you're constantly at that state of like peace, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So being self-aware and enjoying when the good things happen, not letting the bad stuff affect you, and still being at that like centered peace position is the most important thing here. Like I think a lot of people, they don't even realize like the good aspect. They understand the bad part, right? Yeah. It's like don't let bad stuff affect you, but also don't let good stuff
like cloud your judgment.
Yeah, cloud your judgment. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you have to find balance between both of those.
Yeah,
because like that's how you maintain internal is like accepting like, oh, that good stuff is happening. I'm very appreciative of it, and that bad stuff is happening. I'm not going to let it affect me. Exactly. I'm going to stay at the perfect balance.
Stay at the balance.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's like based right there. The based mug, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. So from there, I think the main point I want to bring up is this. Like, this kind of applies to most things in life. I think, we talk about a lot in here, being successful and working on yourself, things like that. And this is going to be really important for that, right?
Yeah.
But I want to take kind of a note for something that there's one thing that I think this doesn't apply, or it does apply to, but it's like a little bit different. And it's kind of how we approach relationships and like, things with other people, right? So one thing that I realized the most in the last 2 weeks. It's been a weird 2 weeks.
Been a wild roller coaster.
Wild 2 weeks for me emotionally, dealing with some stuff. But it's been good, right? And it might seem like Nick knows what I'm talking about probably, and I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast.
He's been a Sigma male. I got to give him that.
And there's people watching who might also know what I'm talking about, but it's fine. Basically, hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying anything. So my main point is this: when I go into a new relationship or a new learning experience with someone, I meet someone, right? And I like I said this from the beginning, that no matter what happens, I'm going to learn from it, right? And when I was saying that originally, I was kind of like, yeah, I think so. Or maybe I'll just shut down and freak out and everything will go wrong, right?
Yeah.
But I was telling myself, like, nah, like, learn from it. No matter what happens, you can learn from this situation, right? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of guys can relate to this. Guys and girls.
Yeah.
I keep saying guys, but it's guys and girls. Girls watch too. When we get into like a new relationship or meet someone new, something happens. A lot of the time what we can do is be like, oh, it's not working, or oh, it's not perfect. Whatever. Waste of my time. I'm going to be upset about it. I'm going to say they're like a crappy person, whatever. I'm going to blame it on them. Blah, 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 blah. Let it affect me negatively for like a month, right?
That is one of the worst things ever, bro.
And like, it's true that like, yeah, when someone hurts you, you get sad and you can make a big deal about it. Or what you can do is learn like, okay, what did I do that didn't work, right? What can I improve upon? And for me, what I realized is like one of the biggest things that I got to remember, and hey, the girl I'm talking to, she might be watching this. And you said something to me one time. She said to me this. She said, look, at the end of the day, this is gonna be interesting. She might get mad at me. But
I don't care.
Basically,
only take dubs.
At the end of the day, what she said is, it doesn't really matter like what I think about you, because you have to be confident in yourself first, or it doesn't matter. Like if you're not confident in the fact that I'm interested in you, then like what does it matter anyway? And I was like, okay, interesting. And I thought about that a lot, right? And I realized like I was telling myself I was confident in myself, but I really wasn't. I was saying it, but I was still worried that like, oh, what if she doesn't like me? Oh, what if this? What if she's not interested? What if this is just a game? I was so worried about that that I wasn't realizing that I'm like, look, I know what I got to offer.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know what I have. So what does it really matter if it's, nothing to her? It doesn't really matter. It's like, to me, I still have what I have, and I still can focus on myself and keep growing as a person, and someone will come along that wants that. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So at the end of the day, kind of bringing it all together back to the point of this podcast episode, is that there's so many things with relationships that the other person has, right? It's a two-sided thing. They got to figure out their stuff too, and I got to figure out my stuff, right? So like I could be, mentally ready to go. Like I'm like, yes, I want to be with you. But if this person isn't, then that's just going to be an external factor that might really hurt you. But what you have to do is learn to just accept that, right? Go, then it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? And instead of being negative about it, getting all angry, let it affect everything else in your life. You got to just shut that part down and say, hey, it's fine. It is what it is. Let's keep moving forward, right?
It is what it is. That is
what it is.
Powerful phrase. I don't think people realize how effective that can actually be. Like I know it's like a meme to be like, oh, it is what it is, right? I just like people say that, but I don't think they realize if you do kind of adopt that mindset and not necessarily be pessimistic about that, but like it is what it is, right? And approach that with the mindset that I can't change it, but I can continue to just control myself and like dictate how I react to this. That is how you start to overcome a lot of those obstacles that come in your way. And you build like that self-awareness, like it is what it is,
Right. Because at the end of the day, like I think one of the biggest things I've realized in growing with myself is that I don't have control over everything. There's a lot of factors in my life that I have no control over, right? And I wish I could control them, but it doesn't work that way. So
the only thing you can control is how you react.
Exactly. So like, for the example, so many people, when they get their heart broken or something goes wrong, they get angry, they get upset, and then they just let it snowball and affect things even worse. They let it affect their friendships, their life, everything going on around them, just simply because like one person doesn't want to be with them. Do you know what I mean?
That's not based, bro. To be honest, like
yeah, it's definitely not very based. But what it really is it's the same exact mentality of like understanding that those external factors don't matter at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter if this, something isn't going to work out. It's like, okay, it's fine. Yeah, it sucks. It hurts. But if you let it affect everything else in your life, then everything else that's good in your life is going to start sucking as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because then you're approaching everything with like, this sucks too. This sucks too. I'm so mad, blah, 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 blah. And it's okay. We all do it. We all get, upset sometimes. We all get frustrated sometimes. It's natural. But it still doesn't mean we have to like just throw away everything and let it all fall apart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's one thing that you take away from this episode and what we're talking about is like your mentality has to be this kind of like, I know what I'm worth. I know what I can do best. And I know that I can keep succeeding regardless of these external factors, right? And the best thing I can do is just keep moving forward and just keep allowing myself to succeed, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of what's going on around me, and shutting down those negative thoughts of, oh, well, this just happened, so now I'm screwed and this is going to suck and I have to go do that. Just stop stressing so much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Realize that you're strong, you're powerful, you got that power within you to get it done. So go freaking do it. You know what I'm saying? And that can be applied to literally everything. Once you unlock that mental ability to do that, everything starts to become like a million times less stressful.
Yeah.
You know?
I got a little thing for the listeners listening. So basically, I want you guys to take some time, you know, especially after this episode or even right now, think recently where you reacted to something super emotional and you didn't handle it well. Now, like, take that new perspective we've been talking about and practice that self-awareness, you know. Think back to some of those past incidents where something you just really got, like, messed up over some emotional thing, right? Think back to those and see how you reacted to it, figure out what your triggers are, and start practicing this self-awareness so you can begin to overcome those obstacles that come your way, right? This is learning how to get past those stressors and only rely on that internal drive, right? Like, nothing external can beat you and nothing external, like, will knock you around, you know? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think this kind of ties into a TikTok I made a little while ago. Maybe it was like 2-3 weeks ago. Basically, it was like the quote was something like, no matter what the emotional circumstance or whatever is happening, like, staying disciplined through it is like the new mindset. It was something along the lines of that, right? Essentially, you want to get to a point where no external factors are going to come in and knock you off your game, right? Like, nothing can knock you off your game because that internal drive, everything from within, you know, that discipline that you've built up, the self reliance, you know, all of that good stuff, you can push through anything that comes your way because you've built up that momentum and that, like, nothing around me is going to break what's going on inside because I know what's up, I know who I am, and I'm on that grind.
Right.
It's as simple as that. It really is. Like, building up that, and you'll become unstoppable that way.
And to bring up, like, another thing that I wanted to talk about on this is, you might be hearing a lot of what we're talking about, and you're like, man, that sounds hard. To just, like, basically be like, oh, I don't care about all these, you know, external things. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to keep moving forward, right? Because it is kind of hard. Like, it's not easy to do. But I'm gonna give my little piece of advice. This is what I do. I don't know exactly. I feel like me and you do a similar thing. That, like, a lot of the time, yeah, my stress builds up in my life, and I need time to break through it, right? I need time to break it down, and, like, it's like if you just, like, accumulate a bunch of trash, right? Eventually, you gotta, like, just break all that stuff down, throw it in the trash can, and get it out of there, right? Same thing. All the stress kind of builds up in your head, and eventually, what you got to do is just pack it down, break it down, throw it in the trash, and get it out, right? But how do we do that? How do we go through doing that? And at least for me, like, I think sometimes when I get stressed, I just try to distract myself. Go do things with friends or go, you know, play on my phone, do whatever. But then what ends up happening is that stress is still there once I'm done distracting myself, right? So what I realized is, like, for me, most important thing is I just got to sit back. I go on a walk, or I go just drive in my car, go park somewhere, listen to some music, and just think about everything that's making me mad. Break through every single thing that's making me stressed, mad, anxious, whatever, right? And then I think about, okay, how am I not going to let this affect me anymore? You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
It's something that, like, sounds so simple, and you're like, how could that possibly help? But I swear to you, like, so many people are like, my mental health's so bad, but they don't even take the time to try to fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mental health really, like, yes, there is times where stuff really is mentally painful, and you need to go, like, if it's something that's really hard to get through, I understand that, like, that approach isn't going to be right. But if it's, like, stuff like just basic stress, or you're stressed about school, or you're stressed about work, whatever, that's so easy to break through.
Yeah.
Just go, like me and Nick both work next to a lake. I walk around that lake constantly.
Yeah.
And it's just to break down. Sometimes I do it like nothing's bad, but I still go do it.
Yeah.
because what it is it just allows me to take some time to decompress and break through all the things that are going on in my life and not allow it to build up into stress, right?
I pretty much do the exact same thing. Like, right,
Yeah.
when I'm stressed, I'll go for like a walk. I go on hikes often, like almost every day.
Right.
And when I'm outside, I'm like on the trail and I just start talking out loud, like working through whatever.
Exactly.
I pretend like I'm talking to someone. There's like no one there, so I sound like a psychopath.
Right.
But I just pretend like I'm talking to someone and then start thinking through all the stress and then working my way through it. I'm like, oh, it's really not even that bad. Like, puts it in perspective for myself. And
Right.
it's like journaling out loud. It's so helpful.
Exactly. It's like, and I mean, it's the reason why I journal. It's the reason why I go do that. It's because it allows me to keep my mental health so much healthier.
Yeah.
Right. So no matter what, like you can distract yourself by going on TikTok and distract yourself by watching YouTube or watching your favorite show or going and hanging out with friends or going to a party and getting wasted. You could do that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not going to help break down any of that stress.
All that trash and garbage is still going to be there unless you take it out.
Unless you take it out. Exactly. So at the end of the day, go take out that trash and you'll start to see a lot more mental clarity. You know what I mean? And what it does is, like, I didn't fully believe this was totally, I was like, oh, yes, my mental health has definitely improved and I've definitely improved myself a lot. But it's like the real time that you get to see that is when something stressful comes along and you react in a way that's new and special. You know what I mean? Like you do it in a way that's healthy rather than like old level me where I was like, would just kind of let it snowball and affect me and I would, you know, do stupid things, right? So like to me, I think the point when you realize it the most is like when you actually react to something healthily and you go, hey, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So like just give it a try. Go work on yourself. Go try to, you know, if there's something that's stressing you out right now, something that's freaking you out, go take a walk. Think about it.
Self-awareness.
Talk about it in your head with yourself. It's gonna, once you acknowledge it, it's gonna become so much easier to get through.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes back to those 3 steps that I was talking about. You gotta acknowledge it first.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gotta move past it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gotta accept it and not let it affect you anymore.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can apply that to literally anything stressing you out.
Yeah.
Anything that's stressing you out, you can do that with.
Just like constantly remember, you know, it's those external factors. The only thing you can control is how you react, not how
Exactly.
everything else is around you. You only control yourself. So you just keep moving with that.
And it is what it is.
It is what it is. Is that going to be the episode name now?
I think so.
I think that's a perfect episode name.
think
It
it's
is
cool.
what it is.
It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, it really is. Like, you can't control those external factors. So,
You only control your reaction and that internal stuff. So remember that.
boom. All right.
I think that about covers everything I wanted to say.
Same. I think
Yeah.
this was a good one.
This is a very good one.
I think this is a crucial thing to get down. And if you can
Yeah.
start to do this, your mental health's going to improve significantly. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, I don't know if they totally believe us when we talk about all this stuff. But if there's one thing me and you have learned the most, it's like mental health is everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's key.
It's key. And starting this off and starting by focusing on this and like working on yourself this way, I guarantee you are going to be like this time in 3 months, this time in 6 months, you're going to be like so much healthier, so much in a better place.
It's
And
true.
you're going to be like, wow, I feel great. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Take those steps.
take the steps.
All right.
All right,
I
guys.
hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
For sure.
Go achieve some greatness.
Go get
Don't let those external factors affect you.
that Thinking Wealthy summer going.
Thinking wealthy summer, bro. We grinding.
We grinding.
We'll see you guys next week on Monday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, you know, go eat some breakfast or something. I don't know, whatever you're doing. Just enjoy the rest of your day and do
Go eat
something nice for
breakfast.
someone. Tell your mom
Sure.
you love her.
All right.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Peace.